Welcome to Shaped by Faith with your host, Theresa Rowe. To find out more about Shaped by Faith and Theresa Rowe, please visit shapedbyfaith.com or visit the YouTube channel, Facebook, or Instagram. And now, here is Theresa Rowe.
Welcome to Shaped by Faith, where we shape our bodies and hearts for God's purposes. I'm your host, Theresa Rowe. I have a special guest on Shaped by Faith today, Jessica Heffinger. She is the executive director and co-founder of Glory Baby Ministry. After experiencing a 21-week stillbirth in 2010, she and her husband Josh began a ministry that now reaches grieving families across the world. Jessica is a recognized nonprofit leader, a Forbes nonprofit council member, and a strong voice in the business community in Bowling Green, Kentucky. She's also a mother to 4 living daughters and continues to honor her daughter, Riley Marie, through the work of Glory Baby Ministry. Welcome to Shaped by Faith, Jessica.
Thank you, Theresa, for having me. I'm so excited to be, on the radio, on the air, and I'm glad that we have this kind of platform so that we can connect and let others know what's going on in the world. So.
Absolutely. And we met, I believe, at a conference. We were both at a conference and connected there. And, we need to pay attention to that, who God connects us with, and follow through. So I'm so glad that He connected us there, and here we are today. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to begin with your story, Jessica. It's a powerful story. So can you take us back to 2010 and share what happened during your pregnancy with Riley Marie?
Absolutely. So we found out we were pregnant with our first baby in 2010. My husband and I were ecstatic. We had just got married in 2009, and here we were a year later expecting our first baby. And so we found out at around 15 weeks that we were having a little girl, and we got to do a 3D ultrasound. She was sucking her thumb on the screen. Heartbeat was strong. Everything was going as smooth as you would want to in a pregnancy. Like I said, we found out it was a girl, and that was the first grandbaby on his side of the family and the first grand girl on my side of the family. So everybody was ecstatic. We had made the announcements to everybody, and we were just thrilled. And at our 20-week anatomy scan, we didn't know what to expect. It was our first pregnancy, but they told us, we're going to take 50 or so pictures, and then we will turn the screen around so that you can see. And we said, okay, that sounds good. And after just a couple minutes, the ultrasound tech told me to go ahead and empty my bladder and then come back to the room. So I did that. And when I came back, she said, okay, I'm going to go get the doctor. And she left the room to go get the doctor. I looked at my husband and I said, I don't think that's what they do at these appointments. I don't think the doctor typically comes in. But again, we were new expectant parents. We didn't know what to expect at that time. So when she walked out, I turned the screen, the ultrasound screen around, and instead of 50 pictures, there was only 5. And one of those was the heartbeat, and it was a straight line. And I told my husband, I said, something's not right. He was trying to keep me positive, and I could tell he was in deep prayer. And the doctor came in with the ultrasound tech, and he said the words that no expecting parent wants to hear, and that was, there's no heartbeat. And so we, at that time, had known no one that had experienced a miscarriage, a stillbirth, baby loss. We knew nobody that had went through it. And so, again, this was 14, almost 15 years ago. And so the doctor came in and said, I'm going to take you over to the hospital. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we're going to have to induce you for labor. And so I labored for over 9 hours, and we delivered a stillborn baby girl at 1 pound, 2 ounces, and she was 10 inches long. And that day changed our life forever.
Wow. I know you had described Riley as being born sleeping. And that moment is so sacred, and it's heart-wrenching at the same time. So what was your grieving process like after that loss? Did you connect with other people? What did you do? You and your husband?
My husband and I were very strong in our faith. And I would like to say that in the days after our loss and even the months after that, I turned to the Lord and everything was glorious, but it wasn't. I was very angry with God. I went through a very dark time. My husband did the same. One of the first words out of his mouth just days after our loss, was, what sin have I committed that we are going through this?
Mm.
You see people that have babies that, out of wedlock, and see people that have babies, they're on drugs, and we're like, we feel like we've done everything right, and no sin is greater than any other sin, but
Mm-hmm.
what have we done? And we hadn't done anything. We hadn't done anything wrong, but during those days after the loss, grief is just so, it just encompasses you in a way that you don't want to be encompassed in.
Right.
It takes over your mind and mental health. But because we are Christian, strong in our faith, and we had a wonderful Bible study group that just loved on us through that time. They helped to get us through that. Support is so important when you're going through grief, no matter if it's the grief of a baby loss, or another loved one, or the loss of a job. Any kind of grief, you need to
Mm-hmm.
have that support system. Don't go through it in silence. You don't have to. You're not alone. There is somebody out there going through similar circumstances, and we need to lean on each other. And because we were able to lean on each other, lean on our Bible study group, them love on us. I told my Bible study group girls, I said, please continue to text me. I'm not going to answer you. I'm not going to answer your calls. I'm not going to answer your texts, but continue to text me scripture, even when I tell you to stop. And they did. And that brought me, it took several months, but it brought me out of a very dark spot. And here we are today with Glory Baby Ministry. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very blessed to, um, people ask, do you want your daughter back? Absolutely. Would I change God's plans for us? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Riley had, God had a purpose in our pain, and now we get to bring comfort to families all over the world. And so
Absolutely.
I'm thankful for that.
So, Jessica, at what point did you sense God calling you and your husband to step out and to help I mean, because you could have kept that in, you could have, okay, I am grieving and I have this support system, but you and your husband actually, you took it a step further, a lot further, by stepping out of yourselves and your own, grieving process to start Glory Baby Ministry. When did you sense God calling you to do that?
Yeah, so in 2016, I found out about an organization in Owensboro, Kentucky called God's Littlest Angels, and they were taking wedding dresses and making burial gowns for babies that were stillborn or infant lost. And I said, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to collect wedding dresses in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and drive them to Owensboro, which is about an hour away. And so I said, that's what I'm going to do. So for a whole year, I did that. And then one of the founders of that organization, I was a photographer at the time. She said, "Will you do a mommy and me session of me and my daughter?" And I said, "Absolutely." She made the trek to Bowling Green. We did a mommy and me session of her, and after the session was over, she said, "Jessica, God has laid it on my heart to tell you that you need to start a ministry
Mm.
like ours." And I said, "I can't sew a button on, so how's that going to work?" And she said, "I don't know, but that's all I know. You need to start a ministry." So I told my husband. He said, "I don't know about this, Jessica." He's like, "I don't want your heart to get broken and you try to start something in memory of our daughter, and then it just your heart broken again if it doesn't take off." I'm a very persistent person, and so we prayed about it for about 6 months. Got together with some friends over dinner, came up with the name Glory Baby Ministry, and I posted on social media on Facebook the next day and said, "Hey, I want to start this thing. I don't know what it looks like, but here we are. I'm going to need help." And so that was in March of 2017. And by May of that year, so just 2 months later, we had over 500 wedding dresses in our garage.
Oh my
um,
goodness.
yeah. And then we had volunteers showing up to our house. We were staying up till midnight some nights, cutting up wedding dresses and sending out mailings. And then that summer of 2017, we had a community member reach out to my husband. He and his wife had just had a loss, and
Mm.
he said, "What can we do to help?" And Josh, my husband, said, "We want to become a nonprofit, but we don't have the funds to do it." And he said, "I'm going to pay for it." And in September of 2017, we became a nonprofit. We served 6 losses across the nation. And just so everybody knows, this was supposed to be a local only organization. We were going to be small, but the Lord's plans are big. And here we are with an international reach. So we served 6 losses in 2017. And in 2025, we served 527 losses across 44 states and 6 countries.
Jessica, your story is powerful, and what God has done with your story. Wow, God, way to go, God. Um, when you started this, I know when we start things, we're like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but did you even think about the reach that you would have with this ministry?
The first year, when we started in 2017, I thought if we could serve one loss, one grieving family, then we've done our job. Never did I imagine, one, that we would go national, and then two, in 2020, we would go international with our services. I told God we are going to be local only, and God said, "Okay, if you say so." And I say this all the time, but God,
Right.
goodness gracious, He is amazing. Oh my gosh, we reached 527 losses in 2025. That's amazing. And I'm like, you know what? Why am I so shocked? Because the Lord, but God, He will provide in all ways. And when you're sending out our packages, we do burial gowns, meaning that we ship those overnight quickly. I just
Mm.
sent one yesterday that needed to get to Florida because the funeral is this weekend, and we are in Kentucky. So we had to overnight that. And so that's considered a burial gown package. But we also send memorial packages, meaning maybe the loss happened 50 years ago.
Oh,
Maybe it
wow.
happened last week, but you're just not ready for that. Everyone grieves differently, and we
Mm.
want to respect that. So when you're ready, we're here. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. And we send those packages out for free. And so when you think about serving, over 500 losses last year, and we're anticipating that we'll serve close to 1,000 this year in 2025. It's just, like I said, it's shocking. But then again, I'm like, why is it so shocking? Because God, He's
And
amazing, and so
that's right.
it's just been very awe inspiring to run an organization like this. But no, did I know it would be where it's at today? Absolutely not. I did not expect it.
Well, that's God for you, you know. He makes all things wonderful and beautiful and big. He is a big, big God. For those listening, Jessica, who are not real familiar with your ministry, Glory Baby Ministry, and I know you've mentioned things that you do offer, can you kind of break it down for us? What is Glory Baby Ministry, and where can we find you? Anything you want to talk about?
So, Glory Baby Ministry, we specialize in making burial gowns or memorial packages for parents grieving through a miscarriage, stillbirth, or early infant loss. And we send those packages out for free all across the world. So, even if someone had a loss 50 years ago, if they had a loss last week, or they are pregnant now and the baby has a terminal diagnosis, reach out to us. You can do that. We are on all the social media platforms. We even have a TikTok. It's
Do
not
you
that big, but
really?
we have a TikTok, we have YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and of course our website, glorybabyministry.org. And parents can fill out a request to receive a free package from us. Now, if it's a memorial package, there is a wait because everything in our packages, most everything in our packages are handmade by
Mm.
volunteers. And so it
Wow.
takes a lot of hands to make our ministry run, and we could not do it without our volunteers. I'm one person, and so we need a lot of help. And I can't sew a button on, so I need all the help that we can get to make these gowns behind us, and all the stuff that are in the packages behind us is what goes into the boxes that we send out to families all over the world.
God always provides, doesn't he, Jessica? He gives you the vision, and then he supplies everything that you need for the vision he's given you and your husband. So, how do you manage this huge growth while keeping each package personal? And you said, yeah, on Memorial, there might be a little waiting because everything is handmade. How do you manage all this growth?
A lot of prayer and patience. um, no, we have a private volunteer page, a lot of texting going on with our volunteers to let them know, okay, we're getting low on this, or we need more of this. And our volunteers, they are on top of it, and everything seems to come at the right time. We were running low on some lamb charms the other day, And lo and behold, on off our Amazon wish list, some came in the mail. And so I was like, but God, here we are. And so we put on every single one of our gowns, and I'll show one off here. So this is our
Oh.
tiniest gown. And so it is for babies that weigh just ounces in weight. And so we put a lamb charm on every single gown and every single bracelet that we send out. And that represents that the baby is safe and in the shepherd's arms. And so we include
Mm.
that on every single gown. We include a little lamb lovey in every single package.
Oh.
That I would put these on our wish list, but Amazon won't let me. So if you search Beanie Babies on Amazon, they are there. You can send them to our mailing address. But we have gowns that go all the way up to newborn sizes, and they are made out of wedding dresses, burial, or just gowns that people have at their house, bridal garments. We have a volunteer in Kansas whose husband passed away a couple of years ago, and she uses all of his suits to make burial gowns for us. And then we also have volunteers that knit, crochet, quilt blankets for us. And we have sizes, we have
Oh.
guidelines, we have all of that for our volunteers. And for those that don't have the skill set like me, we have volunteer workshops, and we have volunteers around the nation that help us make other things that we include in our packages as well. So if you can't do anything, I will find somewhere to put you. So
I bet you will too. So, okay, what if they're listening and they don't have to be in Bowling Green, Kentucky, correct?
correct. Yes,
So,
they can be anywhere. If they're
okay.
willing to mail us the stuff, we would greatly appreciate it, and we will reimburse for shipping it if they don't have the funds to get it shipped to us. We will be glad to help with that. We have volunteers all over that help make our little hats, and here's our tiniest hat that
Oh.
is for a 4 to 10 week gestation loss. And so we have volunteers that make that. And so yeah, you name it, we can put you somewhere.
You can hook
But
them
if you
up.
don't have the skill set or the time to do it, pray for our ministry, pray for the families we're serving, share about our ministry to those around you. You never know who has experienced a loss,
Mm.
because a lot of people feel like they should grieve in silence. It's a stigma with infant loss, baby loss, that you shouldn't talk about it. But you should. If you want to talk
Mm.
about your baby and your loss, you absolutely should. And so there's several ways that you can help Glory Baby Ministry and the grieving families that we serve around the world.
All right. So, what kind of response or feedback do you hear from the families who receive your Glory Baby packages? I'd like to hear a
Yes.
few things. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually printed this off because I wanted to read a heartfelt post that one of the grieving mothers from Kentucky posted, and her baby was born on January 31st of 2019. And she had posted, 6 years ago tomorrow, I birthed what I can only imagine was the most beautiful angel that ever graced this earth. This, my dear, is all I have of your pure tiny existence. No handprints, no footprints, no ashes nor stone to prove that you were here, but instead I have something greater. All of these beautiful things that were given to us and made with love by Glory Baby Ministry. Love for you, love for Daddy, love for Sissy, love for me, and for the miracle rainbow baby that came a year later. That, my girl, is priceless. We may have never laid eyes on your tiny face, but one day I'll get to see your perfect face on the streets of gold. Your sister will make sure your life will never be forgotten, not even by a stranger in the grocery store line. Your bubs will forever sing the praises of his beautiful sissy in heaven. We love you, Oakley Ray. Happy sixth heavenly birthday.
Oh,
And so
wow.
it's just like, gives me goosebumps reading that. And I've read it so
Yeah.
many times, but
Yeah.
we bring so much comfort to families, like I said, that feel like they need to grieve in silence, but you don't have to. You're not alone. There are so many people going through what you're going through, and we are here for you. Someone is there for you. Don't do it alone, because you don't have to.
Amen. And as you were reading the letter, it's like this family received so much healing. Grieving can go on. I mean, there's no number of days or time frame or anything like that. But, I feel like that Glory Baby ministry, your ministry is anointed by the Lord to help in that healing process with the families. That's amazing, Jessica. Just listening to you, I just got engrossed with what you were saying and how God is working within this ministry. I mean, it's evident just listening to you, and of course on video I can see you and I can see the glory shining through you. Um, Tell me about what God has taught you about Himself through this ministry and through your personal loss.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing God taught me is that He is near to the brokenhearted. And it says it so many times in scripture, but until you're in the trenches, um, you don't really see it. And then you're in the trenches and you're like, you know what? He is there and He is going to carry me through this when I can't carry myself anymore.
Mm,
And goodness gracious, we need to lean on Him. And like I said, I've said to people before, those first 3 or 4 months after going through grief, I was not near to Him, but He was there. He was there the whole time, ready to carry me. I just had to let Him, and here
mm.
we are. I'm letting Him uh, use me for His purposes every day through Glory Baby Ministry. And some days I want to say no, but I don't. I move on, and when I am resistant, guess what? He says, I'm gonna make a way. I'm gonna make a path, and it's gonna come. And here we are today with the international reach. And so he doesn't waste our pain. He uses it, like
Mm,
I said, if we let him, he will use our pain to bring comfort to others, to bring healing to ourselves, something that we truly need. I never thought that starting Glory Baby Ministry would bring as much healing to myself that I needed, that I didn't know I needed until here we are, several years in. I needed Glory Baby Ministry as much as it needed me. And God has been there all along the way. But I decided to let Him
that's
in.
right. What are some practical ways churches or individuals can better support families who are grieving, especially when they don't know what to
Yeah,
say?
simply, absolutely. What I say is no words are going to take that heartache away, but showing up is going to help with the healing process. Show up, be consistent. As the weeks pass by after someone's lost, a lot of people just don't want to say anything. Well, I don't want to make it hurt anymore. Guess what? They're not forgetting that the loss happened. It happened. It's there. It's not going to go away. Grieving is not linear. It's not a one size fits all type of thing. And so be there for them, be consistent, let them know that you love them and that you're there, that you want to bring a meal. We actually have a pamphlet that we made that we put into all of our packages, but we also have at funeral homes, hospitals that we'll give to counselors, anybody that wants to have a pamphlet. And we just have a list of comforting words that you can say to the families. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm always here for you. Take as much time as you need. How can I support you? I can just sit here with you. Can I bring you a meal? I know how much you love this baby. Give yourself time to heal and grieve, and several other things that you can say to the grieving families, because words are hard. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And but sometimes just sitting and listening, or a phone call and listening, or taking their laundry off their plate of things to do. Just be there, stay consistent, and be there.
That's
Let
so
them know
good.
that they're not alone.
What do you say to the mother or father who's listening, who's quietly grieving a miscarriage or stillbirth and maybe hasn't told anyone?
Yeah. Don't compare your loss to others. Your baby's life matters. Not mattered, it matters still today, even if your loss was years ago. Your baby's life matters, and you are not alone. You're still a mother, and you are still a father. That was one of
Mm,
the hardest things. After, our very first loss was a stillbirth, and we also had 2 miscarriages. Um, and also, just because you have more kids doesn't take that heartache away, and that's
mm.
okay. A lot of people think, oh, well, you can, at least you can get pregnant. Well, at least you can have more kids. That doesn't take the pain away, and that's
No.
okay. And with grief, yes, God is there, and faith is wonderful, but sometimes you need extra stuff. So
Yeah.
you might need counseling, you might need medications, you might need a host support system, and that's okay,
Hmm.
because sometimes we need to mix and mingle those things together to get through, and that is completely okay. So your baby's life matter, you matter, and your mental health matters a ton.
That is so good. Jessica, as we close, what's your prayer and word of encouragement for the women and families listening today?
Absolutely. May you know that your baby's life mattered deeply, and that even in your darkest moments, you are not alone. I pray you feel seen by a God who weeps with you, who holds every tear, and who promises to be near to the brokenhearted. I pray you find the courage to grieve at your own pace, to speak your baby's name, and to know that love does not end with loss. Whether you're surrounded by support or sitting in silence today, know this: there is hope, there is healing, and there is still beauty to be found, even here. You are not forgotten, you are fiercely loved, and your story is not over.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Jessica, so much. Okay, I know you're all over social media, right? And we can
Yes.
volunteer if God has placed that in you to volunteer. How can we reach you on social media or how?
If you message us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, it's me. If you send an email, it's me. So reach us anywhere. You can fill out a volunteer contact form on the website. Again, that goes to me. So I would be glad to love on you. And if you've had a loss or if you want to volunteer, reach out. We would love to have you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Beautiful guest. Thank you so much for sharing your ministry, what God has given you the vision for, and thank you for pursuing it with your passion.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening. I'm Theresa Rowe. Everyone have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Shaped by Faith with Theresa Rowe. Remember to visit shapebyfaith.com to find out more about workouts, the TV show, podcasts, blogs, Shaped by Faith products, and much more.